Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Extinct Bricks Originals. And for this very special episode of the Jurassic World Rebirth series, this is the Mosasaurus, the LEGO custom tutorial. So like what you saw already in the thumbnail, I'll be doing the Rebirth Jurassic World Mosasaurus, and for this particular I would say custom, I am resorting to other means in terms of base figures. So there's not much of a base figure in terms of having large sea creatures or prehistoric creatures, and so I resorted to looking into those cheap ass toys that you see in the market. So here's one of them. This is a mechanized dolphin. I'm not going to use the mechanism, of course, as it only would have this one working, and I don't need that. But the overall shape here of the dolphin is actually something that can be useful when it comes to creating the Mosasaurus, and we'll technically be using all parts of it. I'm going to cut it here, and then we're going to create a body, and then of course you'll see that there would be a head, where I don't know yet what specific base figure that I will be using for that, but we'll see where our minds would take us. So let's go ahead and make this. Let's see. So first we have marked where we are going to, oopsie, careful. So we're going to just cut this off, and then we're going to use the parts for our Mosasaurus custom. It's taking too long. Alright, so here's a mock-up of what I'm going to do with the Mosasaurus figure. You can see that we have here a what do you call this, a big raptor head, and then I attach the head of the Mosasaurus, and then Indominus Rex. That would serve as the main skeleton for our head of the Mosasaurus here. And then of course we have here the body, and I've done some mock-ups of the flippers and the Mosasaurus. Then we have here the dolphin figure, which I extended to have a longer tail, wherein it would end up with a fluke of some sort on the end, and that would be the Mosasaurus. All estimating the length of the Mosasaurus mock-up that I did, it is around 35 inches, or short of 90 centimeters in length, and also even longer than Moira. Hey there, baby girl. So we're starting off with several sketches here, and I'm beginning with the head. I had several references used for the Mosasaurus, and if I'm just going to put this here, so here is what I think it would look like in the movie. It has a different overall look compared to the previous Mosasaurus here that I did, but I'm also taking this into reference because I wanted it to be a close, well, at least closely in size with this particular Mosasaurus. I am, however, making it much lighter than what it is, so we'll be using different on different methods here. I have here two heads combined, similar to how I did this one. I will be using various methods here, and I think this is the first time I'm doing this. We have here a bottle of alcohol, a shark figure, and then I connected it with other parts here. But yeah, so we'll deal later with the head, with the body. I'm focusing mainly on the head for now, and we'll see where it goes. So here's what we have so far. You can see that it is just slightly smaller than the Mosasaurus that I have here. However, the neck of this Mosasaurus is much more accurate and more massive than this Mosasaurus. And after several hours of kitbashing, here is how the Mosasaurus looks like, and I think it has its shape already, the general shape. We're going to further enhance the spoon this from one foam to another. As you can see here, we're going to use a lot of dremeling there, and we're going to add studs as well as articulation on the fins, etc. And yeah, well, this is going to be a lot of work. So after a primary sculpt, here's how it looks like. I'm still going to make some changes to some of the rough parts the sculpt, but overall I'm happy with it. It looks chunky, and I think it would really look good when it's painted already. Alright, so finally here we've sanded the Spinosaurus, the Mosasaurus a bit, and we added details such as the teeth and also the, what do you call those? I don't even know what those are called, but there are flat osteoderms on the back of the Mosasaurus, and I used glue stick to have it placed there. Hopefully when it's painted it would look really cool. Alright, so now it's time for us to primer this particular big boy. So here's the Mosasaurus after it has been primered, and I know there are some imperfections in the sculpt and so on, but we're trying to wing it because it's just a day or two prior ToyCon, and I need to have this included in the cabinet display. But yeah, so we're trying to wing it and as much as possible hide some of the imperfections through paint. So hello there everyone, and we're ready to paint this particular custom of mine. So as you can see here, it's already primered, and all we have to do now is add in some colors to it. There are a few imperfections. Like I said, we're going to hide those using paint. I'll try my best. So we'll be using brushes over here, different sizes of course, much larger ones because this is such a large custom. We have of course acrylics over there with shades of yellows, browns, greens, white, and some pink as well for the insides of the mouth. And we have here some colored pens, permanent marker, some water, and of course our handy dandy hair dryer over here, so we can hasten up the process. And now let's start painting. And here are the winners for Guesses PC contest. We have 10 lucky picks. Here they are: Daniel Oliveira Santos, Billy Marshall, Fury Studio Productions, Jacob Jitshun, Carmen Lady Pastrana, Lyric Curie, Daryl Collins, Ellie Collins, Paleo Brick, and Concrete Man. Congratulations everyone, and now for our top 10 winners.
Top 10.
Starfishy 18,
Top 9.
Skull 149,
Top 8.
Swollen Head of Dragon,
Top 7.
I'm a Spino,
Top 6.
Lego Prehistoric Planet,
Top 5.
The Snoring Allosaurus,
Top 4.
Leo Degario Ornes,
Top 3.
Aris Zapata,
Top 2.
Cat228,
And top 1.
Colton Todd. Congratulations everyone, and for those of you who'd like to join, here's how. Just click on the Extinct Bricks icon. It will lead you to the Extinct Bricks homepage and check on the post to see all our posts. So the first color in this particular figure would be this yellowish moss color, and this is just a mixture of yellow ochre, some browns, yellow green, and just a little bit of black, just to make it look dirty. And we're going to paint this on the upper portion of the creature, and as you can see here, it is I'm doing it in a blotchy manner because I want it to be very organic when it comes out later on. We're going to do several layers on this one because we have to have that specific opacity so that when the browns are placed over it, it's going to look good. Alright, so the next step would be to paint the Mosasaurus with this off-white color, and we're going to paint this on the lower half of the creature. So this is watered down paint, so it would have less brush strokes as usual, and we're going to do at least 3 coats on this one, and then somehow we're going to merge this color with the greens that we have on earlier. So yeah, and we're going to do this on the other side as well. And using the same color, we're also going to paint the back side of the flippers on our Mosasaurus. So we'll be doing this first and then the other two as well. Of course, we're not going to leave it like this. We're going to add in several more details to the figure to add more interest, so it's not just white and then the other side would be green. So next would be this dark green color, and what I did is I just placed, or I added black to the earlier colors here, what we have, and then we added a little bit white so that it won't be so overly dark. And we're going to paint this on the side of the head as well as some markings here on the neck of the Mosasaurus. Now I'm going to spare some markings here on the area of the head here because we want some details there on the Mosasaurus. Just a little. There you go. And then we're going to paint the entire thing with this color. Like so. Later on, we're going to brush off and put in some more darker areas where the eye socket would be, where the indents on the snout would be, so it would have some more dimension to it. So when we saw the Mosasaurus jump out of the water, it had white contrast to the green flippers on the other side. So what we're going to do is when it jumped, actually it had some markings on the flippers similar to that of the whale, so we're just going to put those types of dots and markings similar to what we saw in the trailer, like so. So those are quite dark, so we're going to use the same colors that we used for the head. The Mosasaurus flippers also is a darker shade of green, and what we're going to do here is instead of painting it with just just a darker one. We're going to do a gradient fill to it. So how we're going to do that is simple. We are dry brushing some parts on the upper sections here, like so that there would be less paint coming in. I hope you can see that. So there should be less paint coming in for out of the brush. And then using the same greens that we had on earlier, we're going to use the same brush here. We are going to paint over it like so. So it becomes still, that gradient from this green to a much darker one. And now that we have most of the darker greenish black colors in, we have here browns, and we're going to put this on the details on the back of the Mosasaurus. And carefully I'm going through each of the osteoderms. I don't think those are the osteoderms. Marine reptiles may not have them, so I would say these are just bumps within the Mosasaurus. And after we have this, and we're going to do different shapes on this one, so we're not being very rigid in terms of how we're going to do the patterns on the Mosasaurus. But unlike that of the Mattel one, the pattern really is not striped. It's more of a giraffe-like pattern to it. I believe so, by watching several video clips of the trailer. It's not really stripes. It's not. So we're somehow going to mimic the patterns here and here until we complete everything. So the Mosasaurus actually had patterns on its belly that looked like or similar to most whales, and we're going to put those here. And this is just a wash. I don't want it to be very apparent actually. So this is a darker wash of a mix of gray and a little bit of brown, and we're going to just paint it on our Mosasaurus. So we're doing, well, now it's vertical, but when you put it on a side view, of course it's going to be horizontal, right? But anyway, so it's not going to be just one straight line going from there to here. It's going to be different patterns, so it's more organic. And using the same wash that we used for our stripes on the belly, we're going to somehow dirty up our jaw here because it's looking really white. Just a few patterns here and there won't hurt. And if there are imperfections in the sculpt, then this is somewhere where you can actually hide those and cover some of the errors on your sculpt. So I don't know if you can see it, but I have this darker shade of dark brown. It's almost black, and I'm putting in some indentations on the current head, even though it didn't have an actual sculpt on the eye socket and also the indentations here. We have put here a darker line over here on the length of the head and also on the eyes. We're also putting in details on top of the head just to remove some of the imperfections in the sculpt. As you can see here, it's not as visible as what you have here, so we're going to do the same there. Let me just put in some samples on how I do it. So if there are indentations there, I put a paint over it, and similar to how I do it here, you can see that somehow it masks the areas where there are certain imperfections in the sculpt. Like so. And then of course we're just going to fill in some of the blank areas with the same color. I know it's pretty rough, but we're in a time crunch. And for the last of the details, we just need to put on paint on the small areas such as the teeth, the eyes. We've already painted it white, but in the trailer, even if the eyes are actually white, there are several details to it that it has a pinpoint pupil with with outline outside it. So we'll try to do those as well, because I'm trying to be as accurate as possible. I'm not comparing it with any other Mosasaurus that have been there out in the market already, but you know how I am here at Extinct Bricks. I'd like to be as much as possible accurate whenever I can, as possible as I can. Alright, so that's it for the tutorial video for now. Thank you guys for watching. This will be included in the ToyCon, of course, so that will probably be shown right after this particular video, even though it's happening quite more recently than when this particular tutorial video will be out. But yeah, so that's it for the video, guys. There will be a lot more for Jurassic World Rebirth, so watch out for those uploads of mine. So if you happen to like this video, please give it, of course, a like, share it with your friends, and consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the notification button so that you'll be aware of what's happening here on my channel as well, and if ever I would have specific uploads or new videos coming up. Also, please do not forget to support our other channels, Ibis Universe, The Adventures of Moira and Usher, and Tito Mike's Kitchen. Please watch their videos and support their channel by subscribing, guys. And as we always would say, bye, roar! Thanks everyone.